Hello and welcome to Afterlife Topics and Metaphysics, where we talk about complex, crazy, supernatural types of things. Once again, I'm at a hostel here in Osaka, Japan, and it's about 3 o'clock in the morning, so I have to be extra quiet so I don't wake people up. That's because, unlike some of the guests in this hostel who decide to come in and talk on the phone at 2 o'clock in the morning, I actually try to be courteous to people and not wake them up. So if I'm a little bit hushed on this video, that's why. In this video, I want to go back to the Reddit thread that I did earlier this month, or that is to say last month, about 2.5 weeks ago, because there was something I wanted to discuss specifically on this channel, which I think is pretty important on the topic of out-of-body experiences, astral projection, multi-dimensional experiences, all that good stuff that we like to talk about here on this channel. So the topic is consistency between places when we leave the body. This is an excellent argument when we are trying to demonstrate that people who leave their bodies can go to objective and real environments, to those people who believe that everything is generated, if not in your own mind, some kind of multi-dimensional type of thing that happens where the so-called afterlife is just this big subjective invention of the mind. So obviously what I argue is that no, when we are having multi-dimensional experiences, like this world we're in right now is a dimension, is a universe, and the ones we can go to when we project our consciousness out are also like real objective places that are consistent. So I find this topic very interesting and very important for these reasons. But real quick, before we dive too much deeper, if you're new around here, if you like these types of crazy subjects, then I invite you to please hit that subscribe button, help this channel out, give it a boost. You can hit the notification bell, hit the like button. Without your help, it's really difficult to keep these channels alive. So to continue, specifically, I want to talk about the subject of Astral Los Angeles. And I bring this up because I've now spoken to a handful of people who have had experiences in a version of Los Angeles that exists on the flip side, on that other spectrum that many of us go to when we have these experiences, and that some of us go to when we cross over, when we kick the bucket, when we're dead. So, as some of you know, I live in, or at least I used to live in, Los Angeles, California. And I moved there about the end of 2013 and was living in Culver City for a number of years. And my address is still there, although I've now left and moved to Asia on a kind of indefinite basis. So, really, it became a home for me. So it was in Los Angeles where I began having this breakout of having out-of-body experiences. Now, I was already a researcher before that time in subjects like life after death. I actually have a lot of content hidden away in different parts of the internet, different forums, where I wrote quite a bit about these topics before ever having my own personal experiences, but it was a lot more difficult to understand what was going on before I began having my own experiences. So it was in Los Angeles, in a little room in a house I was renting in a kind of a suburban neighborhood, that I began having a lot of these breakout experiences. So a lot of the early experiences then involved Los Angeles. So exiting my house, coming out of my body, finding myself in a different but similar environment, exiting the house, going out on the street, talking to people, and finding out that, I'm now in a parallel version of my city. And so this expanded to a lot of other experiences, including being in streets, checking out different venues, a place that I've been to a couple of times. Astral, he is the Culver City Hotel, which is this historic building. It's where most of the cast and crew from The Wizard of Oz were when they were filming The Wizard of Oz. It's like all the munchkins, all the little people. They were all in the Culver City Hotel, partying the night away when they were filming Wizard of Oz. It's very well known, and so I have had quite a few experiences. Now here's the thing: when I have spoken to other people from the LA area who have had experiences astrally, they describe a lot of similarities, making me conclude that when we're going out of body and we're in Los Angeles, it's this same Los Angeles on the astral version of Earth. So when I made this Reddit thread, actually there was a gentleman who was also chiming in talking about astral Los Angeles. So he was describing how the default place he projects to is LA, especially the parts of it that I remember from childhood. Stuff always looks a little different from how it looks here. He says in real life. I would say this is also real life. But it's like there will be something about the region that's present or past that'll prevail in the astral version. So I talked about how, it has this, astral Los Angeles has this really Art Deco 1920s style feel to it that's unmistakable, and the parts of the west side of LA, I mean, it looks a lot more European than it does on this side. So it's a really well designed, beautiful place, more so on the astral side, but it's definitely this kind of Art Deco European style. And he says, this is consistent with my experience as well. He says, I see a lot of 40s and 50s imagery in the astral valley. It's like LA's residual self-image in the astral is still about 50 years in the past or more. Totally true. So one time I was at a party at the Culver City Hotel, and it was just like everyone was straight up 1920s style, what are those like what are the names of those hats that the ladies wore in the 20s, like the bonnets or whatever it is. I think you know what I'm talking about. Just to take a look at a show like Boardwalk Empire to have an idea of what I'm talking about. But that's also mixed with modern technology, so it's not like it's all totally retro. I mean, look, like people may still have cell phones or whatever, but it's also perfectly normal to walk around in 1920s style. And a lot of that's because a lot of the people are people from that era who passed away and are living in LA. So kind of like the golden age of Hollywood with Humphrey Bogart and I don't know, Lillian Gish or whoever Marilyn Monroe. Just pick out your favorite golden era celebrity, and for the most part, a lot of them are still on that side. They're still making films and they're living their astral lifestyles, which it's kind of like life here, but it's on steroids. I mean, imagine being telepathic. You can teleport around. You can create things with your mind, and so it's a pretty wild, pretty crazy existence. But it's also a really great way to facilitate things creatively. So one guy on Astral LA told me that when he turns on his like cable televisions, like he says half the films are just basically stuff from this side that they beam over to that side, and then the other half is their own productions. So there's a whole, it's an entire film industry that matches closely to ours, and a music industry as well. So I've listened to like original songs when I've been projecting, and I remember the lyrics, and like if I were clever and I was able to do this stuff consistently, I could literally copy those songs and take them here and I create a hit song because I'd be plagiarizing somebody's work over on that side. At the moment, laws don't exist between plagiarizing or any laws, between this world and that world. So, that's something somebody could do. You could watch a film on that side, copy that whole storyline, and have like a smash hit on this side. This guy also is funny. He has some funny anecdotes. He says that in my Astral LA, he says his Astral LA, I think it's everybody's Astral LA, He says there are purgatory slash limbo like areas out by San Pedro. So I think what he means is that, so in these astral cities, so there's an astral city for, there's a corresponding astral place for this entire planet. But in these astral cities, um, when we talk about these lower vibrational realms, and Jurgen talks about this a lot in his book, a lot of times it is manifests as a geographic region. So what we would interpret as a bad side of town could be manifesting on that side as something that is more literally speaking, like a separate realm of existence that is very much self-contained and a place that you want to avoid. And I'm aware of those types of places in LA. So there could be sections of town, just like there is on this side, that like you don't really want to mess with because they are rough areas. The difference being on that side, it can be a lot worse, a lot scarier, because then you have the sort of the consciousness of the people reflecting on the environment. So literally becomes drearier, nastier, creepier, just based on the way that people are collectively thinking. So that's something interesting. It talks about how he's lived in the Bay Area for 24 years. That Astral San Francisco, he says, is a terrible place, so he always goes back to LA. I got a really bad, no offense to San Franciscans, but I got a really bad vibe from San Francisco when I was there. I was kind of near the Tenderloin district, a lot of druggies, but I don't know, man, I got this kind of bad vibe about the place, and I never had much interest in going back to San Francisco since then. So maybe there's some kind of a negative energy. I hope San Francisco clears that out, whatever the problem might be. Talks about how he's been to Santa Monica Mountains, Van Nuys, but it was something about Astral LA that keeps pulling him back. Interesting stuff. So yeah, this is one guy, but I've talked to a couple other people who have reported similarities, especially the Art Deco, Golden Era style of Astral Los Angeles. So very interesting. I think I think, look, it's like the astral world is an objective place that we can access. And if this is the case, then we need to someday, really recognize what's going on here, what we're talking about, almost the grand point of this channel, the grand point of all this work. If there's like a thesis that all this stuff is coming to, it's that there's this other world that's our neighbor. And they're aware of us, but we're not aware of them. Okay, so like this little channel with a couple hundred people watching the videos could be one of the only places, a very, very quiet voice that is telling people about this stuff. So a lot of people know about the afterlife. Like, I think the belief is like 70%. So people know there's an afterlife now, but people don't know exactly the specifics. People don't know the types of places people really end up going to. They don't know that part of the afterlife includes this version of our planet that is literally a cosmic neighbor. It's literally a dimensional neighbor that's right on top of us, and we don't have any diplomatic relationship to them, at least not maybe on some covert high-level government way we do that I don't know anything about. But as far as I know, no, we don't have any relationship to this other dimension. We don't have diplomatic relations with the astral earth. And maybe we should. Because if this is an objective, real place that we can access by leaving our bodies, then literally, we could have an embassy, and we could be exchanging information and, having a relationship to this other frequency, this next level up. And we don't. And will we ever? Because frankly, I think we need to. And especially if there's a copy of this entire planet. So I'm in Osaka. Why doesn't Osaka, Japan, have a relationship with Astral Osaka, Japan? What can we learn from the flip side? I know some astral cities, I mean, it's not always pleasant. I know when I was living in Thailand, I mean, my girlfriend, Thai girlfriend, she was a medium, and she told me all about Astral Bangkok. And let me tell you, not a very pleasant place. So her brother died, and was in Astral Bangkok, and she was getting a whole tour of the place, and she's just like, there's so much seediness and crime on this side, and like it all remanifests itself on that side. And she's like, oh, I hope my brother gets the hell out of Astral Bangkok and goes to a more positive condition. So I mean, it's not always a positive place, but you know what, I would say without doubt, Astral Los Angeles is really positive, really beautiful city, and it has so much history. Astral Tucson, man, it just Astral Tucson, Arizona doesn't. I mean, our Tucson doesn't hold a candle to how fun and interesting Astral Tucson is, right? And why is there no diplomatic relationship between those two cities? I'll let you think about those concepts and tell me what you think in the comments down below, or shoot me a message. If you want to get involved more, then I encourage you to check out afterlifetopics.com. You can pick up books like Understanding Life After Death, where I really go into a lot of especially the foundation of this topic, which also kind of makes a good gift if someone is asking questions, and you can be like, well, hey, this book has some theories that might help you out. I do the classes if you want to help put a little bit of money toward the, me being able to keep doing this work and still be able to eat fund. You can join my classes. They're a couple of times a week, and they're a lot of fun. Big crazy discussions that we do on conference call on Zoom. So that's at afterlifetopics.com as well. So you can check that stuff out if you want. And I'll probably do another video. I'm about to do a live radio show with Roberta Grimes, and so I'm just waiting to do that. That's about 6 a.m. my time, so nope, no sleep for me, but it's cool. I'm happy to do this kind of stuff. All right, catch you guys on the next video.